Hello everyone, and welcome to my newest XVM tutorial video. I'm going to be going in depth with this one, not only showing you how to install the mod and make sure everything works with the configuration file and everything, but I'm also going to bring up World of Tanks itself so you can get an idea of what the garage feels like, and I'll also record a battle or whatever in one of my tanks, and just to give you an idea of what you're going to see when you load into the game and actually play a match. I probably won't put the entire replay. It depends on how long the video has gotten by this point, and or at that point. And this way you'll be able to see just about everything you need to be able to see, so you can tell when your XVM is working properly. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's bring up our internet browser. Real quick, if you have any questions about the desktop look and everything, I just got my new laptop. It is an Alienware, hence the background image, and it's with Windows 8, so I'm still trying to get used to it a little bit, so bear with me in that part. So first off, this is my clan forum from World of Tanks that you see brought up right here. I actually created the forum myself and everything. If you're interested in joining us, we're United Armor Command on World of Tanks. Feel free to go there. So anyways, I will provide every link you need to help you make this tutorial. First, we're going to go to the main XVM download site, and what you're going to need is the most recent XVM .zip file. If you have WinRAR, it's a lot easier to use, a lot easier to do things. So if you, I'll provide a link for WinRAR as well if you want to download that if you don't have it already. It makes installing things a lot easier than just having the zip files that Windows defaults to opening. But anyways, you're going to want to download the your most recent XVM file. Just click on the link and then click on this again and hit Save File to your desktop, preferably so it's easy to find. Then we're going to go back, and just to ensure that we get what we want, whatever server you're on watching this, I'm on the NA server, but download your appropriate clan icons folder. If you're on the European server, obviously get the EU one, NA there, the Korean one, I believe that's what that one is, you know, Russia and everything like that. But anyways, I'm going to download the NA clan icons. It's going to probably take the longest because it's got the most icons there. The next thing you're going to want to do is, after you get those downloaded, before we ever start installing the mod, we're going to go ahead and make your XVM configuration file. Now, for those of you returning and watching this video every time, you sort of know how my config file works. But for the sake of any new viewers, excuse me, we're going to run through this one more time. I'm going to put in the author as me, because this is my personal one. Now, the very first thing you want to do, for those of you tuning in for the first time on my XVM tutorial videos, is check the box Enable Player Statistics Global Switch. Check that box and you're good. That's all you need to do with this particular tab. Next, over here by the long list, you know, common login hanger, we're going to go just right down. We may skip a few, but just bear with me. We're going to go to the login tab. I like to keep the skip intro movie box checked. All it does is skip that T for teen part that pops up. It helps make things load a little bit quicker. The World of Tanks thing, where it floats in with the icon and all that kind of stuff, will still be there. You can just hit escape to skip that still. I don't do the auto enter into the game simply because I like to be able to log in, type in my own stuff if I need to, and everything like that. Not only that, but you know, some friends and I, we tend to help each other out on each other's profiles and things like that. But anyways, next, what you're going to want to do is, under ping servers, under this login part, you're going to enable that, and that's the only thing you need to do for this particular tab. Next is, we're going to go to the hanger one. Keep these three boxes checked. It's a great one to have. Now, show extra data in profile. It's an experimental thing that they've just started, as it says in parentheses, under your achievements window. Check that box. I have it checked. It's a new feature they've added since my last video, and it's kind of neat. It adds a few things to the achievements area. I apologize for me having to clear my throat a little bit. I've got, you know, a small cold and everything and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, we're going to move on. Keep the stuff for squad checked, and I obviously enable ping server so you can see the ping of whichever server, because, you know, the NA server recently split to NA West and NA East. I connect best to the East server, so if you're ever looking to run into me in the game, make sure you're on the East server, because it's all I play on, unless some kind of special event with wargaming is going on. Anyways, over to the battle tab. For clock format, I usually erase that because it tends to cover up the damage and how many hits you've pumped out, how many hits you've made, and how much damage you've done. Keep the clan icons thing like it is. This one I don't mess with, I just leave it checked. Next we're going to move over to markers. This is the big one, and the one that takes a little bit the most of the time for the configuration file. First thing you're going to do is over here where it says ally alive and normal, you see how they're darkened. That's right, that's how they should be, except we need to add one more to that, the enemy one. Now you can play around with this part if you want. Normal is when you're not holding down Alt. Extended is when you are holding down Alt, and what all the different information it'll show. I don't bother with that part because it does everything. Just having these four done does everything I need it to do. So first things first, we're going to skip health bar, skip damage text. If you want to put the contour icon up, that just shows, you know, right here what kind of the outline of the tank, like it would show on the players panel to the left or right or whatever on your screen. I don't use it because it just takes up space to me. Now under clan icon, I do have that enabled simply because, as you can see in the picture to the right, and as you'll see it on your own screen, it shows the clan icon above the tank. I mean, it's just for show, but it gets you, if you know with the big clans, you know, all the big clans icons, if you have, you know, ones that you can identify as immediate danger from certain clans, then you can see that pop up and you'll know to take extra caution near that tank. Next, level icon simply shows their tier. I don't use that one. You're welcome to, but I don't. Simply, I've been playing long enough that I know what each tank's tier is when I see the name. So I don't bother with that one. Action marker, you're going to skip. We're going to go straight to text fields now. This is the important part. As you can see under the text field part right here, the vehicle name one is selected. What we're going to do with it, we're going to go down to the Y position right here, and we're going to change that number to -47. Seems like an odd number, but it's the right one to do. As you can see, it jumped the vehicle name up to just under the clan icon. Now you might be asking, why would we create this gap right above the health bar? I'm going to answer that right now. So under the text fields area, it doesn't matter which one you hit, but out here to the right of them, you want to hit the plus sign. I call it in. If you hover over it, it'll say insert line. Press that, and as you can see, it created a new one that says text 1. So click into that dot so it's selected. Now the name, we're going to change from text 1 to player name. Then we're going to change the Y position to that one that it showed under vehicle name to -35, if I remember correctly. Yes. Now if you look over here, it's still saying text in all caps, and it's like, well, that's not any use. So what we're going to do is simply go to text format, highlight that, sorry, highlight the text that's right there, and delete it. Then we're going to click in this drop down menu that if you hover over it, it'll say select macro. Now there's a lot of choices here, and if you want to mess around with it, you're welcome to, but the main one we use is the NIC one, the player name with clan icon. This way for me it would show Delta 4096, and in the brackets it would say UAC. And that's the basic one I go with because it's the exact same basic setup that you can do inside World of Tanks when you don't have the XVM mod. And that's how it shows up, and that's why I use it like that. That's everything for this particular for this tab. So what we're going to do is move over to hotkeys. Now this is one of this. I'm going to take a short time to explain. Minimap zooming. What this does is if you hold down the left control button or key on your keyboard, it will take your minimap from that bottom right corner and slap it into the middle of your screen as big as it can get it. Now I don't like that in particular. It's not what I prefer, because if I'm in the middle of the action and all of a sudden I see there's a push happening in an undefended area on the map, I just want to be able to hit control and click on the minimap in the bottom right corner and say, hey, here's some stuff going on. If it brings it up in the middle of the map, especially if you're in the middle of some heated action and you're just trying to hide for a moment to ping that area, you know, enemies can come around the corner, and if that minimap's in the middle of your screen, you're not going to be able to see them come around. You're going to get a shot into you where you might have been able to react and shoot them back. So what I do for my personal configuration file is uncheck that particular box, and I don't enable it. If you want to try using it, you keep check the enable box and keep this one right here checked, and that'll do. Like I said, I don't personally use it. So that's all for this one if you're going to follow my configuration to the letter. Next, we're going to go down to the capture bar and make sure everything's fine there. Yes, append, you know, that will show when 3 people are on the capture zone. As you can see what it's popped up here, it can't calculate more than 3 people being on the capture zone, because in World of Tanks, 3 is the maximum amount of people that can stand on the cap and actually accumulate capture points. Any more people on there, if one of those 3 gets damaged, they'll start picking up the capture points too. But other than that, you can have the entire 15-man team on the enemy capture zone, but only 3 of them, the first 3 that get on the capture zone, are actually going to accumulate points, capture points. So leave that checked, leave it enabled. Next, we're going to go to Minimap. And this is the big one where, you know, if you press that left control, that centering zoom minimap, that's when it would slap it into the middle of your screen. I uncheck that one just to be on the absolute safe side. Next, under maximum unit draw square, we check both of these boxes. This will allow you to see a circle on your minimap, which I'll show you in game in a while. It will have a circle around showing your maximum spotting range. And then there will be a square outside of that on the minimap that represents the maximum draw distance, the maximum distance in which your computer can render a tank being visible. And it's extremely useful. The rest of the boxes I leave checked and everything like that. And that's it for this particular one. Now, we're going to move on to the loading tab, which this is where some things get... this is where we start getting our ability to see, you know, our win chance, whether it's 50%, 60%, or 40%. What you're going to do is simply check the Show Chance to Win box. I don't mess with the clock because I like seeing that during the loading screen. We check that box, and that's all we need for this one. Next, we're going to move on to Tab. We want to have the Show Chance to Win. The Show Chance to Win only for live tanks I've never used, and I'm curious about it now, so I'm actually going to use that. I've already got XVM installed, so I'm just going to change my configuration file because I'm curious about what this Show Chance to Win only for live tanks thing is. I have a feeling that the description is pretty obvious. You know, as tanks die, it'll start showing our win chance go down or up depending on which way it goes. But I'm going to find out by experimenting with it, so you'll get to see that with me too a little bit later on. Next, we're going to move to Players Panel 1. Now, if you're tuning in and you've seen all my previous ones, all my previous XVM tutorial videos, you'll know that I got a little confused about the never seen part. Recently, I've had clan members and people on YouTube comment on my previous videos saying, "Hey, here's why you were getting confused. Here's how to solve the issue." Because when you have this enabled, which we're going to do, on the players panel to the left and right showing the friendly team and the enemy team, there will be an asterisk looking, a star looking symbol next to the tank. What that represents is that tank has not been spotted yet, or in this case it'll be on the enemy side. It will show that this particular tank has not been spotted yet. In the past, I got confused because I got confused simply because I already never had this asterisk show up. And because they never get spotted until, you know, unless a scout or the enemy team pushes into the wherever they happen to be, you know, I always like to know, okay, so the already has yet to be spotted and everything like that. So, to fix that problem, under this area where it says accept already and never seen, you have all this typing here. Simply click inside that box so you get the flashing, you know, marker saying you can type in there, and hit Control A. That will highlight everything in there. Next, you want to hit Control C, which will copy all of that text. And it'll move it, but don't get confused by that. It simply move it to the end of the box. Next, under the already area in that never seen one, click into that box where you get the flashing, you know, type icon. Then hit Control V to paste that what we just had up there into in here. Now, in the enemy players panel, the stars and things like that will show up just like as if we were in the enemy one. Now, we're going to move on from there because that's all we need in this one. So, Players Panel 2 we don't mess with because there's nothing there that we really need, as you can see here. Again, you're welcome to mess around with anything I'm not going over. I'm just not, simply because this keeps it the standard showing as if, you know, what was going on, for, you know, things like that. Anyways, battle results. I checked the Show Chance to Win just so I can see, you know, what we had in this, you know, when the battle results page pops up when you get back into your garage. Keep all these checked, they're very useful. Now, colors all the way down to miscellaneous, I don't mess with because there's really nothing there I'm wanting to change. It simply comes down with, you know, vehicle names. You can change how it shows the vehicle names above them or whatever. I don't mess with them. You're welcome to mess around them if you want to. But as for my personal configuration file, we are now done. So what you want to do is hit Save right here. And I would save it to your desktop, save, you know, all the stuff like I've said in the past, save it all onto your desktop so it's all easy to find. Don't change the file name or anything like that, and just hit save. Now, we are done with the configuration editor, and we are done downloading what we need. So we're going to go ahead and close out of the internet browser. And as you can see over here on the left side of my screen, there is the RAR file for XVM, the clan icons, and the XVM configuration file we just made. These are all what we're going to need, and it's all you're going to need to install XVM correctly. So, next, since I have Windows 8, you know, I'm used to the start menu from Windows 7 and past operating systems. And it took me a while to figure out just how to handle Windows 8. So, but anyways, what we're going to do, if you're a Windows 8 user, what you're going to do is go down to your taskbar here, and you're going to click on this folder right here next to your internet browser. You know, it's the light. It'll bring up your Explorer, as it's called, Windows Explorer. We're going to drag that over so it pops up on this half of the screen. If you have Windows 7 or below, click on your start menu and then go to computer, and it'll bring up this exact same thing, except it'll actually show it with this window right here, which is where we need to go. So go to computer, click on your operating system, you know, C drive, go into there, go into games, and there's your World of Tanks folder. That's where we need to go into. Go in there. And next we're going to go into res mods. Now before I go in there, you're going to see a lot of folders and probably a lot of files because I have several other mods installed, including the Historical Realism Gun Sound mod and Gnome Father's Engine Sound mod. I will do a separate video for those if you're interested in those tutorials, or interested in those mods. It changes the engine sounds and the gun sounds, both mods do, making everything sound a little more realistic and a lot more fun instead of having that basic hum of every tank you play, that same engine sound. Or, you know, for instance, with the E100, you get this loud ka-thunk when it fires. Well, the E100 is not a good example because that's one of the gun sounds that doesn't change. Let's take the FV215B 183. You all know that it's also been commonly nicknamed as the Death Star Tier 10 tank destroyer because it's the British one, because of its 183mm cannon. And instead of the loud standard thud like what the E100 makes, it gets a deep rumble and then almost like air escaping from a tube when it fires. It changes the sound. It's pretty cool, and I will do a tutorial for that later. But anyways, back to the XVM stuff. We need to go into the res mods folder. Now, this is where we start. You see version 8.10, but you'll see this XVM folder that I have. Open up your XVM RAR file or zip file, depending on which one you're using. Drag it over here to where it's side by side. Go into the RAR files res mods folder, and now you'll see the identical folders here. Now, in the XVM folder in the RAR file, you're going to see all these different things. Excuse me. And over here, you see what I have. Not nearly as much as what the RAR file has. So what we're going to simply do is we're going to look in the mods folder. Okay, we need all of these. So what you're going to do is drag this mod folder. I'm not going to do this because I've already got XVM installed, but simply do what I say. Take the mods folder from the RAR file and drag it into the XVM folder that we opened up. If you don't have this XVM folder, it's really simple. Right click under 8.10 in XVM, go to New, and hit Folder. And then you're going to just type in XVM, and then hit Enter. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because I've already got the folder, but that's how you create the XVM folder without having to get all of the mess that's over here in the RAR file. So once that XVM folder is created, go into it, and then drag this mods folder into it. And that's all you need to do for this part. You know, don't mess with any of these other ones that are in here. Now, we're going to go back to where it says 8.10 on both sides, and we're going to go into the 8.10 folders for both. And this is when you see GUI and scripts. Now, if you already have other mods installed, such as, let's say, Jimbo's Reticle mod, or even the engine and gun sound mods that I mentioned earlier, you're already going to have the GUI and scripts folders, and you're probably going to know really well how to install mods. But what you're going to do, if you don't have any of these mods installed, simply take and left-click and drag a box, so you highlight both these folders, and then drag them, and then, you know, just drag them in to your 8.10 folder. I'm not going to do that, obviously, because I've already got it, but that's how you do it. Just drag those two folders into 8.10, and that installs all of the XVM that you need, all of the XVM files that you need for that part. So XVM is now on in your res mods folder, and World of Tanks should be working with it now. Now, you might be asking, because I haven't mentioned the XVM configuration file, you might be asking, well, what do I need to do with that? It's simple. We're done with the XVM.rar file, so you can close that out. But anyway, we're going to go back to where it shows 8.10 in XVM. Now, if you notice when I was in the XVM folder a minute ago, you probably saw my xvm.xc. That's where you need to put it. Inside that XVM folder under 8.10, you want to drag your configuration file into there. I'm going to go ahead and replace it since I made a new one. You won't need to worry about that if you don't have XVM. You'll just drag the xvm.xc file into the XVM folder and you'll be done with that part. Now we're going to move on to the clan icons. We're going to open up that RAR file for clan icons, drag it over here, go into resmods, and as you can see, that XVM folder is right there. We're going to go into it, and now you have this res folder that contains every clan icon for the NA server, including my clan, you know, and all the other ones, the big guys, and I'm pretty sure you can guess who I'm talking about when I say that, all the way down to the brand new clans that were founded, you know, up to about a day before this NA full clan icons thing was made. So what you're going to do is take that res folder and click it, you know, click and hold and drag it into your XVM folder over here in World of Tanks. It'll take a little bit of time because there's a lot of clan icons. It'll copy all those files over, and they'll have the clan icons installed. Okay, and so once you finish that, XVM is fully installed. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on World of Tanks, on YouTube. It doesn't matter. You know, find a way to contact me, and I'll try to answer questions about how to install XVM if it's not working for you. In the next part of the video, since we're done with this, I'm going to go ahead and close this window out. In the next part of the video, I'm going to load up World of Tanks. I'm going to see if my current screen recording software can do it, but I'm going to do it as a separate record file. If not, I'm going to use Fraps, as you see I've got right here. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me. In just a second, I'm going to get World of Tanks loaded up, and I'm going to show you what you need, the indicators of what you're going to see to let you know that XVM is working properly. So I will talk to you guys in a few. Alright guys, I used Fraps for this part of the video. I'm actually using a voice narration, not what I actually recorded saying in Fraps, because as I looked at the video clip, some of my engine mods and things like that drowned my own voice out. So I'm using voice narration. Now, as you can see, the black screen that just appeared, that was the auto skip, you know, skip the intro video part that we checked in the XVM config file. Went straight to the World of Tanks part. You know, could have hit escape to just skip the World of Tanks part, but anyways, now it's going to go ahead and we're going to log in. You know, if you look up in the top left, you see the ping for each server. That's another part of the config file. For NA East and NA West for me, since that's where I'm at. You know, I log on to the NA East because it's a lower ping typically than NA West. Another indicator that XVM is working properly is up next to the World of Tanks version. You'll see the XVM version you're running, and that's another indicator that, you know, XVM is working properly. You know, and you know, if you're watching this in the future, you know, in the future, and there's going to be a different version of XVM out every time, obviously, for each new update that comes out for 8.11 and then 9.0, 9.1, whatever. So now we're going to go ahead and log in, and I'll show you the basics you need to see in the garage. Now, like I said, I'm doing voice narration through the the program I'm using to actually make this video. So if I seem a little out of sync with the actions that are going on inside the this part of the video, it's because the video itself was pre-recorded before I did the voice stuff. Now, here we are in the garage. In the top left, there's a little bit of a FPS issue going on here at the very beginning of the video, but that does change. But while that part is trying to catch up, if you look up in the top left corner of the screen next to your menu, you see the ping for the servers again. You know, just like you did in the login menu. That's another indicator that XVM is working properly. At the vehicle selection area, you know, in your vehicle tabs, all this kind of stuff, you'll see, you know, whether they're elite, they're tiered, all that stuff. That's normal. But under that, you're going to see your mastery class with those tanks. That is a part that XVM adds. You know, whether you have ace tanker, first class, second class, or third class. As you can see, you know, my E100, my Maz, that's I have ace tanker, but the 50B I've only got first class. I haven't had a match that would put me up into ace tanker, obviously. You know, right here, the basic stuff. You know, it's kind of, you know, the master class, the ping for the servers, and everything. That is a major indicator that your XVM is working properly. Now, we'll take a trip into the service record here in a minute. As soon as we get that part of the video, here we go, into the service record. You know, over to the vehicles tab, you will see your WN6, or whatever the current WN is at the time, your efficiency, your average tier level. For me, it's 6.37. Under the victories and defeats, you'll see, you know, your percentage, how many battles you need to get to that next benchmark, which is goes up by 0.5% every time. For your defeats, so your defeat percentage, how many draws you've had, what percentage of your battles that is, and your battles survived, and then you also under your battle performance show your battles, your maximum experience. It'll show your tank, the maximum destroying battle, and all that kind of stuff. Over here in the vehicle main part, your victories. Red signifies bad. Granted, and I have a few tanks that are like that. But as you watch the World of Tanks explain video, it explains what each color means. All the way from bad being, red being bad to purple being epic or whatever. All that kind of stuff. So now we'll go back to the garage, and we're going to jump into a quick battle. Now, the battle doesn't last that long for this part, simply because, it was a tier 10 match. I ran with my Maz, and everything like that. Got into tier 10. It happened to be an all tier 10 battle, as you'll see coming up here in just a second. And, those battles tend to go either way. But we'll get into that battle, and you'll see what I was talking about in your loading menu. My new computer, my Alienware here, has gotten so fast that it actually loads through the loading screen long before XVM can actually catch up to it and show your loading, the stats and your win chance and everything in the loading screen. But for a lot of people, that will work, and it changes from time to time. XVM has its days where it will show this stuff, and other days where it won't. It's just like any other program or mod or whatever. Now, the waiting queue here is a little long, because there was a lot of tier 10s in queue, as you can see in the video. 37 currently, and I think it jumps up, yes, right there. Now, the match I get into is all tier 10 on both sides. There's not anything lower. And one of my fellow clanmates, Haicool2, he's a deputy commander of UAC, one of my deputies. He coined the phrase that these kind of matches are pub wars instead of clan wars. And he's very right. I mean, why it's a pub wars because it's a pub match, but you don't have near the organization or the leadership you get in clan wars. But anyways, here we see the basic stuff. Here's the holding the tab. You see, the amount of battles they have, the win chance, which is only 41% for this particular match, which I've seen, which is not that great, obviously. But then you have the player's battle count. In case mine, 12k. Then efficiency, it's 46, and then win rate's 49 for me. In different colors. That's all explained in my XVM for World of Tanks explained video, which you can find on my channel. Now, if you notice, there's no sound coming out, and the only reason that I've done it like that is because my mods for the engine sound mod and the gun sound mod, while you would love to probably to hear that, I couldn't do it because it will drown me out while I'm talking, and I don't need that to happen. So, because obviously I'm trying to explain stuff, so I don't need that to happen. Anyways, if you look at my mini-map at the right, you will see a white line, which is actually a box if you have if you're on a bigger map. The white box represents your maximum draw distance. That's the maximum range at which you can actually see a tank that is spotted. The yellow circle that you see taking form is your tank's spotting range. If an enemy tank is inside that yellow circle, you have a chance of being able to spot them depending on obstructions, bushes, and things like that. Also on the mini-map, if you look in the top left corner of it, up in the A1 sector, you will see what says 800M. That gives you the size of the map. Typical World of Tanks maps are 1,000 meters. The M stands for meters. In the case of this particular map, Miravanka, if I remember correctly, it's 800 meters. It's not a very big map, and that is squared. It's 800 by 800. But you also see a lot of the vehicle names on the mini-map, like the T92 or the Foch 155. Or even the T110E3, the E50M, that kind of stuff. That is a part that XVM also adds into the game. It allows you to see what vehicles are where, and it'll allow you to react better and get into better positions to help support a weakened flank or whatever. Also, as you can see, the enemy tanks are showing up there, the IS-7s, and the E50M that just got pulverized. When an enemy tank goes unspotted, you will see, just like the two IS-7s, they're just a dot with IS-7 right there. That shows you where they were last seen, and can let you react to the battlefield sooner. Granted, they could move away. Like the IS-7 that was E2 could end up all the way at A0, but that little shadow on the minimap will stay there because that's where everybody last saw him. And you'll see that once they reappear, those parts fade away. If you look on the enemy player panel on the right, up above the minimap, you'll see those stars I mentioned earlier in the tutorial. What that means, that shows you which ones have been spotted, and if they don't have a star next to them, and which ones have not, if they do have a star by their contour icon. As you can see now, the Artie actually has that star there showing that they have not been spotted yet. Speaking of which, that Artie has it out for me this entire match. He ends up getting me, he ends up killing me and hitting me, I think, 2 to 3 times. Granted, you know, everybody sees a Moz, or typically everybody sees a Moz, and they're like, holy crap, there's a Moz. We've got to kill it because it has 3,000 hit points. Not only that, but because of how rare the Moz has become, you know, there's an achievement on World of Tanks called Mouse Traps. Everybody tries to kill it and get an extra one towards that. Now, as you can see, this battle is so far it's pretty even. The battle doesn't last a whole very long. We end up losing, yes, but the 41 XVM is right. Sorry about that. XVM is right 80% of the time. You know, the 41% win chance is how it ended up turning out. We ended up losing, and I usually don't. You know, I don't typically watch XVM and trust what it says every time, because there are battles to where we could have a 40% win chance and we'll come back and win 15-0. I've had it happen. This is the exact opposite. We could go into a battle with an 80% win chance and it'll be 0-15 and we'll lose. It all just depends a lot on, you know, RNG, luck, and just, you know, basic player skill, or how we're able to react to things going on in the battlefield. So you can see the GWE100's hit me again, but you know, that's the basic stuff to explain for the XVM. That you can tell your XVM is working when all of these things are showing up. For instance, if you look up just to the top right of the friendly team players panel, you know, where my tank and all theirs is located, in the players panel, showing their names and everything like that, you'll see hits and total. What that is another thing that XVM adds, is how many hits you've made when you're shooting. You know, obviously it's not going to count every shot you make, because if some miss, then, you know, it's not going to count those. But it'll show how many hits you've actually made, and the total amount of damage you've dealt, and what your last shot, how much damage your last shot did. Now, if a tank isn't spotted, but you knew he was there and you shot and you do actually manage to damage him, it won't show that hit or that damage dealt in this part, because it can only calculate, XVM's only able to calculate what you see, or what it sees actually happen. As you can see, I just got destroyed by the GWE100. Now we're gonna wait. We're gonna skip forward to the after battle results now. So all right. So here we are at the after battle results. As you can see, it was a defeat, like I said it would be. But as you see here, under the defeat, you see your typical stuff. You know, 28,983 credits gained, 466 experience gained. But if you look down at just under my tank, you'll see where it says credits and experience. Normally, without XVM, it just shows those numbers over again. With XVM, it shows you how much you've gained, or in my case, lost it with credits. The same amount of experience. Then you get your hit percent. You know, I think it was 4 out of 6 shots with a 66.67% hit rate. That's a great thing it shows. Now, damage, assisted and owned. Blue is how much damage I got from assist, or in this case, what it used to be called spotting damage. For me, it was about 1,900, you know, because I shot somebody's tracks, or I spotted them and they got damaged right afterwards. And then my own damage, which was about like 900, I think, rounded up. That's how much I did myself. And in the after battle results, that's all that that XVM shows you. It just helps you say, okay, here's how much I actually made, or how much I lost, as opposed to what I earned, you know, earned throughout that battle. Nothing else really shows up in the team score, the detailed report part, as you can see, as it's showing right now. Nothing really changes right there. Just mainly on the personal score part. Now, that does it for the tutorial and everything you need to look out for to see that XVM is working properly. If you have any questions, message me on World of Tanks, YouTube, Facebook, it doesn't matter. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Go like my Facebook page. You can find the link for it on my YouTube channel, and message me wherever you need if you have questions or concerns, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope this has helped, and we'll see you guys on the battlefield.